Alright, hello guys, it is a new day. I have painted my nails. What do you guys think of the yellow? I'm not sure about it, but we're going with it for now. So as you can see, the watercolor pencils did make the page morph a little bit on the edge here. That's not too bad considering some of the other papers I have used that get super duper crinkly as soon as water hits them, so I can work with this. Next, I want to do some swatches of the watercolor palette I have from Michaels. I think this might be an Artist Loft palette, but I am not 100% sure, but that is the one I am able to find on their website that looks similar to this one. And since this one doesn't have a brand name written anywhere on it, we'll just go with that. So, stick out my sticky notes. I am going to do the swatches for this one on this page here. Let's scooch some of these over and alright. So these ones don't have names, so I'm just going to start in one row and work my way around, and hopefully that's good enough. To go from really pigmented to washed out. And if it needs to go on to the next page, that will be fine. And hopefully this doesn't ruin like the other side too much. It's supposed to, so we shall see. Do I even bother swatching the white? Suppose I should. Look at the glorious white. Lovely. Look at how it's still not sinking through to the other side, so that's a good sign. Already. Last row. This this black doesn't get dark enough for my liking. It's much more of a dark grayish color. And this is not meant to be a professional palette. I got this in high school, I think. Eventually I would like to upgrade to something pricier, but right now I can't afford to do that. So we work with what we've got. Almost the exact same color, but it's not, I promise. Alright, so as you can see, this notebook holds up pretty well to watercolors. It doesn't crinkle quite as much as something like Bristol board would, and it has not leaked through to smudge anything on the other side. Although when you feel this side, you can kind of tell that like this is where the water is. So I'm going to let this dry, and then there is one more thing I would like to test, and that is ink. So I will be back in a little bit. Alright, so now I'm going to be testing out my inks. So I have two different inks to test out in two different ways. So the first is this Black India ink from Higgins brand. I have used this ink before. It is not one that I recommend because it comes out very, very gray. It does not come out pure black at all, and it claims to be waterproof, but when I have used watercolor over this ink previously, it has smudged. So I do not recommend Higgins, but since I have it, I'm going to test it out. The other one I am going to try is this Speedball Super Black India ink. This one actually is my boyfriend's ink for his pen, I believe he uses it for. And it claims to be permanent and waterproof, 100% carbon black pigment. So I'm interested to see how this one does in comparison to the Higgins ink. So I'm going to be using my dip pen to make a few marks with each to write out the names, and then I plan on using a little bit of water and a brush to see how much I can spread them out. And I also plan on doing a little test down at the bottom maybe, or on the other page, to see if I let them dry for a few hours, if they will smudge when I put water over them. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the Higgins ink. To be very careful, I'm actually going to grab a paper towel really quick because I don't want ink everywhere. Okay, excellent. Here we go. It is tearing at the paper slightly, but it doesn't look like it's seeping through. So I am going to try to put just a dot like that. Okay, and now a a little bit just straight on the brush. That will be that. Okay, I'm going to rinse off my supplies and then we will go in with the speedball ink. Okay, I have rinsed off and dried my supplies. So now we are going to be testing the speedball super black. Ooh, I'm not used to this pen. I'm not very good at it. Okay, again, it seems like it's tearing at the paper a little bit. Interesting. Let's see if I can get a drop. Okay, let's see how we do with the brush. So because the brush I was using before is now wet, I am going to start with this one. It looks very dirty, but it is clean, I promise. Okay, that doesn't seem to wash it out nearly as much. Let's see what we can do for a gradient here. Ooh, this one looks a little mucky. This one just looks gray to me. This one almost has like a brown tint to it. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to wait for this to dry and then we'll check to see if these droplets soak through to the other side, and then we will also test to see if when I put water over the waterproof area, if it smudges it or not. I will be back in a few hours, but for you it shall be a few seconds. Okay, got you guys zoomed in a little bit here. So now it has been a couple of days. This has had plenty of time to dry, even those big dots I did. And those did not bleed through the paper at all, even though it was a solid drop of liquid ink. And now I am going to try adding some water on top of the inks to see if they are in fact waterproof as they claim. And it looks like both inks have passed my test. So I think that is actually all of the testing I wanted to do to see how well this notebook works. I definitely like this book. I am going to be using it for anything involving ink that I do, because all the other papers that I own, ink does bleed through watercolors, crinkles, way more, and this is just a really good quality paper for a sketchbook. So in the next video of this series, I plan on testing out the chameleon markers. They are alcohol-based markers, and I expect them to work fairly well on this paper since nothing else has bled through. So that will be the next video in this series. I also have a few other videos coming out in between then. I have another Wreck This Journal video planned, as well as a DIY ombre curtain. And I will be posting a few bookish videos within the next month because there are several readathons that I plan on participating in and books I would like to talk about. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!